You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting right here live in Northport, Florida. I've got a very special guest in the house, Commissioner Debbie McDowell from Northport. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing, John?
Not too bad. So we're approaching the next week of Christmas and the end of a year. And how's City Hall doing?
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Have you been by it?
I have not. I have been inundated with other things, but I need to make it over that way this week.
So, as you know, City Hall is transformed into this magical wonderland. And I posted some pictures on my commissioner Facebook page.
Awesome.
Because not everybody can get down to City Hall, and we keep talking about how beautiful it is. So I went to all 3 floors and took some pictures of it. Even took a picture of outside my office door. Tried to get the holiday spirit here in the confines of our office areas, and just took some pictures for everybody to kind of see it. It's beautiful. They always do such a great job, and outside is gorgeous when it's all lit up at night, and it's really, really pretty. And then Christmas card lane outside, it's just really, really nice, and I hope people come by and take a look at it.
And we don't have the snow. We've had some storms recently, but
that was nothing.
Some people would say we're chilly down here right now. I don't think it's
put a jacket on.
Yeah, put a jacket on, put a windbreaker on. But it's very comfortable out. And there is something to be said about what the city does, trying to make everything seasonal for the seasonal people, I guess. The people that transition down here, they're not used to not having really winter months to reflect on and appreciate. I do, and I appreciate the fact that I don't have them anymore. I love the fact that we don't have all the cold weather and we don't have the snow. I'll take that storm we had over the weekend any day of the week in comparison to snow. But
yeah. My favorite is that I get to shut the air conditioner off and open up the windows. To me that's bonus.
It's been fantastic. I'm sure FPL is sitting back going, shoot, I'm not getting paid this much now.
I'm fine with that.
So
the Christmas decorations at my house, my husband does a really nice job decorating the outside. It's a beautiful job. And those lights are on from, I think, 5:30 until probably long after I'm asleep. So at least for 5 or 6 hours. So even though the air conditioner isn't on, we're still contributing with the Christmas lights.
Making up for
it. That's right. It's beautiful though. He did a really nice job.
So what's been going on at City Hall the last month? Catch us all up, because I don't know anything.
Well, the commission had their last meeting on the 12th of December. So we're done for 2023. We'll be picking it back up for 2024, probably right where we left off. So it's been kind of quiet. There's really not that much going on, since the last meeting. The last meeting was more of a wrap up, just tying up loose ends before the end of the year, because we don't have another meeting on usually we have 2 meetings a month. December we only have the one.
Okay. Yeah, I did see something, and I did not know about it. Is there a new parking ordinance for people in Northport?
Yes, there is.
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
I've had a couple people stop me around town. I've had a couple people email me about the new parking ordinance. So essentially the new parking ordinance passed at the end of September. Okay. So it's been in force for a few months. I think what it is so it passed 4-1, and the parking ordinance essentially is saying you cannot park on the front swell, the city's right away. Whereas in the past, people parked in the front of their house. You have to maintain that as a property owner. You have to maintain the city's right away. So they just figured, hey, I'll maintain it. I get to park on it. Well, now they said, no, you're not parking on it anymore either. nor can you park in the easement on the sides of your property, which easements are your property. The parking in the front has to be on an improved surface, which is either concrete, shell, gravel, rock, that kind of thing. And it has to be on that improved surface to park on the front part of your yard. Now, my house, I can't do that because I have a septic tank, and I can't park in the rear because in order to get to the rear, I have to go down this big slope that, so I can't. I can only park in my driveway. So part of the thing is the right of way. Yes, it's the city's drainage system. But they want to preserve it, and I understand all that. But to not say you can't park on your side of your house, unless it's on an improved, there were things on that ordinance that I just didn't agree with, so I didn't vote for it.
All right, so you were the lone. I was going to ask who was the lone standout, because that to me is hmm. I see it both ways, but
I do too. Here's the kicker, John. So if I can't park on the side of my house because there's the 6-foot easement, that's my property. Your government's telling me what I can do on my property and not park there. I have a problem with that. And then the city is saying you cannot park in the swale, the right of way. But if it gets damaged, the property owner is responsible for repairing it. And when I said, how do you determine that the property owner actually caused the damage and maybe not, a truck that had to move over, or a school bus, or another car, who knows, somebody else caused that damage. Why should I be responsible for it? And they said, well, everybody has cameras. And I said, that's not good enough.
Everybody has it's sand too. So I got to tell you, rainy season with swells, yeah, not parking on them. That's a great idea. Great concept.
Absolutely.
But go back to the camera. I've got video footage of people driving around the dump trucks on Price Boulevard, which caused massive damage during the hurricane. And we didn't do anything about that. And that caused major damage.
Washed out bridges because of it.
And furthermore, if we do have a major storm again, how are you going to prevent? To me, there's a huge gray area there that should have probably been looked at a little better, maybe talked about a little more. The funny thing is I've had a commissioner on this platform once a month for the last 5 years. I never heard one thing about that. And that to me, and I'm not, you voted no, so I'm not really at you. I literally found out about it on Facebook, and I talk to you guys all the time. And it just seems like the commission did a great job at hiding this information from people, because you had the perfect platform. Everybody had the perfect platform to announce this openly at their perspective time on the radio show.
So let's talk about process, though, Bill. Bill, I saw Bill's popping up on my Facebook.
Hi, Bill. Say hi, Bill.
Yeah. Anyhow, the process is it has to have 2 readings. All right. And it's a code change, so there has to be 2 readings. So without looking at the dates of those 2 readings, I am going to assume, and if you want me to confirm, I can go back and look, but I'm going to assume that the first reading was in the daytime at the first meeting in September, which was September 12th. And then the second reading is in the evening, which is September 26th-ish or so, somewhere in those dates. So we don't really know what those code changes are until we see it at first reading. And, was there enough time between first and second reading for somebody to talk about it? I don't know. Was it something to talk about? I don't know. But I didn't vote for it either time. I was against it.
It would seem to me that when you're talking about property rights of owners, that you would want to have this information out as much as possible versus, I guess maybe the flip of that is we'll take the heat on the backside of it and we don't care.
I'm sorry, I lost the video because I'm looking for the dates of when this was approved so that I can.
I basically said it. Maybe you took it on the chin because you didn't care to talk about it. Not you in particular, but I always am the one who stands up and defends. In this case, I don't feel justified in defending not talking about it, not having an open dialogue.
So the first reading was September 12th and the second reading was September 26th. So there was 2 weeks in between. I voted against it both times because I read what was in the ordinance and I tried
October,
to.
November. When did we vote on it?
September.
So
September 12th and then September 26th.
It was actually done on September 12th. We had a show on the third week of September, and then the following week, it was voted on and passed.
Right.
And what made that change happen? I'm stumped here because are we saying that city staff came up with this and within 2 weeks we changed code?
No, I think there was a lot of citizens concerned with how the neighborhoods looked, with all the cars parked in the sides and rears and fronts, and the city was concerned about the drainage with the amount of rain, maybe because of Hurricane Ian, maybe because I don't remember exactly when we had that one storm. Oh goodness, when was that? There was one storm that we got like 5 inches of rain in like an hour and it flooded a lot of the areas. So maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it was at the same time. John, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, how so? And I'm not. Listen, I'm just I'm trying to get caught up here because I would have never thought that I would have seen this on Facebook, having talked to everybody and having what I thought was pretty good insight on up and coming events, and what was going on. I'll just tell you how I feel. I feel slighted, and I don't have a place to park. I don't have any of those things, and yet I can't imagine that the public overall is not unlike me.
I don't disagree with you, John.
And
I voted against it because I didn't think it was a good law to have in our books. I didn't think it was right.
Like I said, I'm not picking at you at all.
I can't.
It's tough because
I can't speak for the others, John. You'll have to ask them. I'm sorry.
No, I will. I definitely will do that. Just as bold as I'm asking you and saying these things to you, I plan on hitting each and every one of them with the same gotcha moment. And if they're watching now, they know it's coming. And they'll be prepared. But to me, I think we talk about transparency. A lot.
Careful with that word.
I know we talk about this a lot, and when it comes to stuff like this, I mean, I dare say we're making some decisions now. Does that stop at the corner of the house?
I'm sorry, what stop at the corner of the house?
The current situation, the front corners of your home.
Right. Yep. So your two front
corners. I was told prior to this, and I want to know if it's true to this day, they can't do anything. If I got my trash cans next to my house on the other side of the front corner of my house, they're behind that line. Is that a true statement anymore? Or can you go in my backyard and tell me what to plant there? Because I'm confused by the boldness and hence you're voting no. I'm confused by the boldness of now we're an HOA. We're not a city anymore. We now have a government who's acting as an HOA. And that's how I look at it.
Then you better pay very close attention to what's in the ULDC for the rewrite. You better pay very close attention to that. I've
Okay.
been paying close attention to it. I've been catching the things that I have been concerned about. I have voiced those concerns, but I'm one of five, and the ULDC is going to be rewritten, and I am positive that it'll pass 4-1. And there are things in there that are very concerning to me. And if you're concerned about parking, read the code and try and understand the new changes that I have caught, the things that I'm trying to wrap my head around.
What are some of the things that you're talking about?
Any new homes are going to be required to have a tree planted, 2 trees in the front of their house. This is new properties, new developments, new houses. Your trash will have to be in the back, and they will have to have, or on the side, but it has to be opaque, meaning it has to be hidden for your trash cans and your air conditioners. And I don't know, maybe your equipment for your AC and stuff like that has to be hidden. Those are just some of the little things that I've picked up on, and I'm like, what? So we could spend hours and hours. I don't have the code here. I wasn't prepared to talk about it.
It's ironic that I make a statement like it's like an HOA, and you just listed more things like an HOA. So it's government takeover of the city of Northport.
Well, it's been said many times that a city is a different standard than a county. And there's a different level of service that's required. And then you have to weigh government overreach versus property rights. This is a very big, huge conversation. I see both sides of it, John. And I don't know where the compromise is. The word compromise seems to have been lost lately, and trying to find some middle ground. And that's okay. I'm going to continue voting what I feel is the proper votes to make. And if people don't like my votes, that's okay. Life goes on.
I saw that. And what you're layering in there now is I could see and manage my thought process through the form that I saw on Facebook, and now I'm pissed because I don't think City Hall has a right to go past the front of my home to tell me what to do with the remainder of the yard. And chainsaws are purchased for trees. You can plant them all you want. They can be removed unless they're writing an ordinance that says you're not allowed to ever take a tree down.
I have a feeling that's coming with Chapter 6, John, and I'm very cautious about what Chapter 6 is going to have. So originally the ULDC was only going to have 5 chapters. They decided, we just got word that the Chapter 5 is going to be the sign code for signs throughout the city. And that code is going to be its own chapter, which will then, I'm sorry, I had some tea and it's like not settling very well in my throat. The Chapter 6 is going to be the natural resource or trees and natural part of the code. So, what can I say? Yeah.
Bill says it wasn't a real secret as it relates to roads and drainage concerns over the deterioration of the swells. I agree with that. I get that.
It's true. But here's one of the statements that they made, and this is where I feel very proud and aggravated at myself. And I'm going to give you an example. So when we were talking about the code for the road and drain, the swales and the parking, no parking in the swales, because we don't want cars to leak oils and gas and stuff
Sure.
into our drainage of our swale system, because that drains then into our water supply. When I heard that, I bit my tongue, because those same oils and gases and whatever's is on the street that flows into the drain of the swale into the water's drainage system. So I'm like, do you hear yourselves, is what I'm thinking to myself. Do you hear what you just said? We
Yeah.
don't want cars parking in the right of way because they're going to leak oils and gases and God only knows what else. But the same cars that are on roads leaking the same things drains into the swale. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything, but then I'm kicking myself because I so wanted to say, do you hear yourself? Do you hear the lunacy of what your statement just was? But it's out there. It's said, I don't know. I don't know,
Well,
John.
we could build dams so that none of the water goes off of the road into the swells.
Seriously?
Well, we could. I guess we could. I guess if you're going to have one side of stupid, you got to have the other side of stupid. Um, because you can't. All of our swells, all of our systems are designed to capture all the water
I
off of
know.
the most major roads out there, which is 75, which every car on 75 is required not to leak any contaminants whatsoever.
Oh, we have an inspection process
No,
now.
I
I'm
guess.
being facetious,
I
please.
know.
We better be careful because people are going to think this is actually happening, and I don't want that to be even remotely.
And Bill says that's why we need to be concerned about our water quality within our canals and waterway. I we've talked in depth about that, and I know where he's going with that. But as long as we continue to have rain, we're going to continue to have more contaminants in our canals, and it's not from parking in the swell.
It's not. So I don't have answers for you, Bill. My suggestion is I own my vote. I voted against it for the reasons I've stated. I stated it on the record at the dais. I tried to have a conversation, find some compromise, but it is what it is, and it's passed.
So would it
I
be
hope this comes back. I cannot bring it back because I was on the dissenting end. Only somebody that voted for it can bring it back for reconsideration, or maybe even staff will bring it back and say, hey, we need to fix this. I even said on the record, I feel bad for code enforcement because they're the ones that are going to have to enforce this.
well? You've
And if
got
you have a law, you can't pick and choose when they enforce the law.
right. Wow, and that I guess that's the beauty. We have no parking. We have you know no parking in the swells. We've got no parking in the streets. We've got no parking in your yard.
Side yard, you can park in your rear as long as it's not in the easement.
Which rear? If you got a house behind you, you're not getting to it. Um, you can't drive through your side yard. You can't park in the front. I get what they're trying to do. I do. I understand what they're trying to do, and change can be subtle, but when you're making a complete community HOA driven, um, our government right now is overstepping. Everybody who voted yes is overstepping their bounds.
There's a concern that I tried to convey. Um, Nowadays, there are so many families that are doubling up. There are so many people that the cost of living has gone through the roof. There's 4, 6 cars for a house now. Most and even Commissioner Langdon brought this up. I think it was at the last meeting when we were talking about a different code for parking, and that is the enforcement for PD. We had to make some changes and tweaks for PD. And she said that, with all these people that are doubling up because of the cost of living, how can we help them? And while we couldn't change anything then, she brought up the fact that, and I lost my whole train of thought on that. Anyways, she was absolutely, she was spot on with all of the people that are doubling up. They have nowhere to park, and they're not going to pay to have something improved on the front of their property if this is an investment property and they're renters. I never even thought of that part. She brought that up, and I'm like, that's brilliant, you know? So if you're an investor and you're renting it out and there's 4 or 6 people living in that house, you don't care how many people are living in there. You just want your rent money. And if they're parking in the swale or on the side or something, you're not going to pay to improve that property to accommodate additional people living in the house.
We don't have rentals in Northport.
We don't have what?
We don't have rentals in Northport. I'm being facetious.
Oh God, I thought I heard you correctly, and I'm like, you're what?
I was being facetious.
It didn't go over very well.
Wow.
I thought you were serious.
You know, when you have a situation where the government is overstepping their bounds, what's you said people have got to get involved in the LDC and they've got to start reading about it. How could they possibly do that right now?
There's all sorts of avenues. I know that when I have my town halls, that is one of the biggest topics we talk about. I've been hosting a town hall every month except for the month of December since Chapter 3 hit the road. It came live, and that is the zoning. I have held a town hall every single month, and I've had anywhere from 20 to 40 people at my town halls learning about the new zoning map and how it's going to affect them as property owners. It's one of those things, John. If people don't know that this is coming, how do they know to ask the question, how is it going to affect them? The city,
go ahead.
The city posts the workshops on the website every month or every week whenever a new agenda posts. I have my commissioner page, and I'll do a shameless plug. I don't care. And I post what's coming up. So that way people are a little bit more aware of things that are going to be discussed at those workshops or at the commission meetings. People are busy living their lives. People don't pay attention because they're busy living their lives. They're working. We've got Christmas. We have Thanksgiving. We have family coming into town. My kids are sick. A myriad of different things that happen with every single citizen in this city. And until it passes, and until they get the notice that you can't park in the swale anymore, that's when it gets put out there. It's too late. It's too late. And I'm telling you, this ULDC rewrite with this zoning, it is going to be too late if this zoning passes the way that it's being proposed.
So the ULDC, how long did the last one stay into effect before the new one that we're doing now is going to change the landscape of our city?
I'm sorry, you'll need to rephrase that.
The last ULDC, how old is it?
2011, I think it is.
So 2010, we're writing a new one. Even if it's 09, it's fine. So 09 to now, we've not had an update. We're about to get a drop of an update in the ULDC, right?
No. Let's okay. So the ULDC, hold on. Here's my ULDC. Okay, here's the book. You see this book? This book was adopted in the whole entirety back in, I think it was 2010, 2011.
Okay.
We've had updates to that book. Little updates here and there.
Yeah, but we're changing it now.
Now we're redoing the whole thing. We're taking the book that I just showed you, putting it away, and we're going to come up with a new book. And that's going to be our new ULDC. And they're expecting that to be adopted in spring spring of 2024.
My good friend Sean posted, and I'm going to go right back to my HOA stance again.
Make some money, huh, Sean? Good. I love capitalism.
To rent out their driveway. I made this statement. Gosh, it's probably been 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, that in my community can't have a party because we can't park. We don't have a yard. My driveway holds 2 cars. And I said, what do we do? I asked leadership, what are we going to do if we have a party? And they said, well, you have to park them down at Publix and drive them back and forth. Unless you can do what Sean said, which is borrow driveways. And they said that they had a showing for a death, and they take great pride in making sure that even that got broken up and people got sent home because you weren't allowed to park on the street for that event.
This is not how society should be.
No, and I say all this because the truth of the matter is neighborhoods better be wary because the war is about to start. All these neighbors who are the
careful, John.
Yep. All these neighbors who are the gotcha moments, they're going to make sure that people are towing the line, and that line hasn't been towed. And people's yards are going to be people's yards, and I see this. I see this coming about to be a major mess at some point, because I would make it a major mess if I had a yard, because I would park in my yard every day, because otherwise I'd make the city pay tax dollars on it, because I think everybody who bought here now should be grandfather claused in to the old ULDC. I
can tell you're angry about the parking code, and you live in an HOA, so you understand how that's affecting you. And you signed on the dotted line knowing those rules.
Correct.
These are people that have been maintaining public property.
Or their own property.
And their own property. It's an and, it's not an or.
Correct.
I mean, I have to mow the swale. It's not my property. And if I don't, I can get in trouble for it. And I don't want to get in trouble. This law is going to affect those people that follow the law the most. Those that don't follow the law, they don't give a crap. They're going to still park wherever they are, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. They're going to get their fines. They're going to get whatever. And this problem's not solved.
And I will tell you that.
Here's one. Here's one, John. Can't park in the swale. Cannot park in the swale.
Sure.
But yet, our public parks, there is sometimes no parking on an improved surface. So where are you supposed to go to park if you're going to a playground or a city park? And there's no improved surface. You park in the swale.
Right.
Hello, that's illegal. I wish I thought of that one back in September.
And here's one that Bill said, one of the greatest impact of a new ordinance will be to the trades, adding to their trials and tribulations.
You're absolutely right.
Wow. I can't even imagine the blue collar workers here in the city of Northport who all run out to buy shell and spend their extra dollars putting new parking areas down for their trucks and trailers. And I get what they're trying to do. I understand it. The beauty is you held that book up. It's only about 4 inches thick, maybe 3 inches thick. Maybe 5.
About 3.5 inches.
3.5 inches. So, it's
600 pages.
600 pages of flush it down the toilet. For a lot of people that are going to live here and find out that, unfortunately, I think they're going to find out the hard way. What's really sad is I started this conversation based on a pop-up on Facebook, And I think the most disappointing, the by far the most disappointing thing for me is the fact that I have had city commissioners on, and this would have been one of those, I think, unbelievable conversations preemptively versus what we're having now, where people are finding out through social media and they're throwing their hands in the air because what, 20, 40 people got together and rewrote the ULDC? Because it's not more than that. It's not a citywide join in. It's not a conversation that's readily had. It is truly being hidden, and I think people's agendas are being taken care of within that book. Um, and they're going to make this city exactly what they think it's going to be. And I'm kind of depressed today. This is worse than, I didn't have this thought in my head where this was going to go. And I'm ashamed. I'm flat out ashamed um, right now.
I I
And I
can't add anything.
showing or not, I'm beyond angry. I'm beyond angry. I am. I hope that I'm angry enough for every citizen out there who is paying attention right now to share what you're saying. People need to get involved. I've been saying this for a long time, whether it's on the good side of get involved or the bad side of get involved. Get the hell involved or get the hell out of the town. Because one way or the other, you're going to be chased out of town. Because with all these new ordinances, everybody here thinks that they're going to be living in a non-HOA community. We are not any longer. That you literally, we're talking about one piece of this whole ordinance, one piece, and we've check marked HOA, HOA, HOA after each one of those.
And
how does this upcoming parking restriction compare to neighboring cities who are comparable to us?
I can't answer that because I have a hard enough time keeping track of things that are happening in my city, let alone trying to read the code of other cities. I can't answer that.
Are we
It's an I understand the question, but it would be really unfair for me to even answer that because I don't know. Every city has their own codes relating to parking. I have not taken the time to review those. And if it's shame on me for not taking the time to review them, then it's shame on me. I have a responsibility
Oh,
to.
yeah, you actually voted no, so shame on you for this one. Is not on your behalf.
But it's shame on me for not looking at the other cities. I don't have the time for that. That's what I was getting at.
I tend to not believe that.
And just because other cities do something or don't do something doesn't mean it's good for us.
It's
We are Northport, and I understand it's important to compare us to other cities to kind of get a feel and a flavor of how other cities wrestle with a similar situation. But that's all it is. How are they wrestling with it? Did they come up with something unique and out of the box thinking to solve a dilemma that we have here?
Yeah, but
and use that as a comparison and then say, yes, we like this, but not this part of this, and take little bits and pieces from it. We can do that. But to just blanketly change a parking code to say no parking in the swale, no parking in the easements, and if it's damaged in the swale, you, the property owner, are going to pay for it, whether you caused that damage or not. Oh, hell no. That was a hell no vote for me.
So they're
not just a no.
They're not saying on the side of your house that you can't park. They're just saying you can't park on the 6 feet of easement.
And if it's in the front, you cannot unless it's in an improved property.
So
you have to read the code, and I'll be happy to send you the link. So
I saw it. So I'm going to go right back to the front of my house. Is that line off limits to the city of Northport, or have we banned that too? because the corner of your house, there, if you draw a straight line out from your home, they they're not supposed to be able to regulate beyond that part of your house, like the side of your house where you park your driveway is. It goes out. You can park there on your grass, correct? Or is this ordinance now saying no, you can't park in your grass, you have to, it has to be an improved surface?
It's on the front of your property, and the front is, you know where your front door is?
Yep.
Okay, your front door. Now, in my house, it's my front door and my garage. All right, so it's one thing. All right.
Continue.
So my front door, we'll just call it the front door.
Yep.
That's your front, and anything forward towards the street is considered the front yard, and that has to be on an improved surface.
Okay, so next to my garage, it's
So
grass.
if
And
behind,
it's that's what I was talking about, the corners of my house.
so if you're standing at your front door and now you're going to behind it on the side of your house, behind where your front door imaginary line is, that cannot be in your easement.
So as long as it's not in my easement and I'm not parking on that 6 feet, I can park next to my garage
On the side, on the side.
on grass.
Way I remember reading it, yeah.
That's interesting.
But
So
if it's in
everybody
the
out,
front, it
everybody
has
out
to be.
there who's got a front line and has got a double lot, I would suggest buying double lots because you can get away with more trees being dug up out of your yard if you have a double lot, because you can keep your trees on the other lot. That's I learned that too. You know, it's amazing what you learn by paying attention to the regulations that are coming.
Yep.
And how a citizen has to be very conniving to get along with the changes that are coming. I I just feel like the citizens of Northport have been ambushed with these changes. I think it's coming. I think the unsettledness when people start finding out. I think it's we are a city of average age of what, 54, 55 maybe.
Like 46.
I was trying to be great.
Yeah,
You
somewhere
know,
around.
none of our we have no we have no parents here with more than one child, so there shouldn't be a parking problem at any home. Um, I guess. Um, I find it ironic that every time we head into an economic, I don't want to call this a downturn, but we are heading into rougher waters than we've experienced over the last 8 or 9 years. We tend to double down on more damage that we're going to cause as we enter into what could be hard times. Um, it all goes in cycles, and I guess we didn't learn our lessons the last economic downturn. Guess we need another one to kind of show that. But it's frustrating. I think it's frustrating on my behalf. I don't own a house, but I certainly remember owning my home and being able. We didn't park in the swell, but sorry to tell you, people are going to drive through the swell to get to their land. They're not going to park in it. They're just going to drive through it. They do it every day. What are you going? So you're going to stop people from driving through the swell to get into their yard? The same damage that the lawnmowers are causing by driving on sand to cut the damn swell. It's sand. It shifts. It's stupid. We are literally classifying ourselves stupid with some of this thought process. And, there is something to be said about, man, I didn't want to end my year with thinking that we're
You brought up the subject, John, not
I
me.
certainly did. Why? It is frustrating though. And maybe that's the
Welcome to
point.
my
Maybe
world.
that's the point for
Wel-
commissioners and for everybody
Welcome to
out
my
here.
world. There's a lot of things that I just kind of shake my head at that I'm just like 4 to 1, 4 to 1, and there's a lot of people that chastise me because I don't play along and that I don't follow the crowd and stuff like that. That's okay.
I,
I got to live in my own skin, and I am quite comfortable there. And
I'm
if
going to
it's
tell
a
you.
4 to 1 vote, then it is a 4 to 1 vote.
I just looked up, and I don't know that I've experienced a show that has gone this quickly. Um, this show has literally, we have 9 minutes left, and I feel like we just started. I don't know. That was a topic and a half, and I didn't even think that it was going to be a topic and a half. I thought it was going to be gone, but he said missionary.
I saw that. I was like, what?
He hates typing.
I know he does. It's probably text to talk
Yeah, yeah. So
or talk to text,
I want
whatever
to know
that's called.
about activity 3.
So Activity Center 3, I know exactly what he's talking about. Activity Center 3 is up by Sumter and I-75. Activity Center 3 is pretty much the 4 quadrants of that interchange. In the proposed map, they're looking to expand it into areas that are now zoned residential single family. There's a master plan that is being developed. We gave the green light to develop the master plan for Activity Center 3. And I had the audacity to ask the question, what area is Activity Center 3 that they're going to be master planning? Is it the current area of Activity Center 3, or is it the expanded area of Activity Center 3, or is it a larger area of Activity Center 3? So it has been it's going to be the expanded version, because not only is it going to be the master plan, they're also going to be looking at stormwater options and how to alleviate the stormwater that's coming from the north down through the city. And if you look at the map that they provided, and I have to see if it's in the backup material. I don't know if it is. If not, I have a copy of the map. I'll be happy to send to the city clerk so she can fulfill public records requests, which is should be everybody's favorite thing, is public records requests. Because that's how you get information. That's how you learn these little nuances, is through public record requests. But anyways, they're looking to expand Activity Center 3, or the master planning of Activity Center 3, all the way out to Salford Boulevard, which is residential single family. So I don't know if there's a new draft that will be coming down the pipe for the rezoning map, if it's going to include Activity Center 3 all the way out to Salford and down south to, I'm trying to think what street that would be. Anyways, further south than what it is today. So that's kind of where he's asking about. This area is also where the Sarasota Memorial Hospital is slated to go into. And they want to make that area, it's very protected land. Half of Activity Center 3, when we were first talking about activity centers and we were trying to come up with new uses and prohibited and permitted uses, we even went as far as saying, hey, this quadrant cannot be developed, as far as with non-residential development or, any commercial, because it is so protected land. It floods so quickly and so easily. And so we have to be cognizant of what we allow out there. So it'll be interesting to see that future conversation of what Activity Center 3 will grow up to be as this consultant works its way through it.
We've got a lot of action happening here with and I've got 5 minutes left, but with the activity centers, with Welland Park, with the hospital get projected to start here soon. There's a whole lot that 24, 25, and 26 are going to bring this city. Um, you're on your way out. When's your last month?
November 24.
So you've got 11 months, 11 months left. What do you see? And I know this is short time. I didn't even think about that, but what do you see over the next year? What's some of your thoughts that you want to see happen in the next 11 months?
It's not what I want to see happening.
Well,
It's
as a
not what I
city,
want to see.
as an exiting commissioner, you know what's on the agenda. You know what's coming up. You know what's being talked about. What are some of the things that you want to see accomplished?
Well, I'd like to see the ULDC get complete and it fully implemented. I don't know exactly how that's going to look. I know that they're slated to have it be in the springtime. So there's a lot of things with the ULDC that I think we need to still have conversations on, just because we're done reviewing chapters 1 through 6, or we are finished 1 through 4, but we still have 5 and 6 to do, and that'll probably be done February-ish. There's a lot of areas that are concerning to me. And I would be more than happy to meet with anybody offline to discuss some of those concerns, because it's really hard for me to discuss those concerns without looking like I'm bashing people. And that is not what I try to do, but they are concerns, and they are my concerns, so they are valid. And nobody can tell me otherwise, that my concerns are not valid until they dispel my concerns. And then it's not valid anymore. That has not happened. So if it appears that I'm bashing staff because I asked so many questions, or it appears that I am negative towards staff, that's not the case. I'm asking questions because I am concerned. And if you ever want to have those conversations, I am more than willing to meet with anybody offline about some of those conversations and some of those concerns that I have regarding the ULDC rewrite. I know Warm Mineral Springs is another big, huge topic. I am confident that the new P3 is probably going to be presented to the commission spring. Again, we got some big things coming in the springtime. And these are polarizing subjects. And if anybody does not think they are not polarizing subjects, please come talk to me and I will explain both sides of the polarizing subjects.
Parking,
We are out of time.
parking is this big compared to some of these things.
Absolutely. But your concerns about parking are just as valid as my concerns about the ULDC.
Sure.
Nobody gets to tell anybody what are valid concerns or minuscule concerns, or, oh, that's petty. Nobody gets to say that.
I make a big deal out of the parking, and I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have a house. I don't have the ability to park in my yard. I live in an HOA community. I just hate that my city is going to be an HOA community. So when I move out of my HOA community, I will make sure I don't move into another HOA city. That, I guess that's the point. I'm going to have to find a new place to live, so I don't have that HOA feel. And maybe it is Port Charlotte. We've been looking there anyway, so that could be an option. And
Well, that's because it's county. See, that's the difference. That's county.
Yeah.
Whereas Northport is a city, and people, when you move into a city, you pay taxes for a higher level of standard, a higher level of whatever, just like you move into an HOA for a much higher level of standards. Sure. I would never live in an HOA because I don't want those standards. I want to be able to do what I want to do with my land.
There is.
Are we out of time?
No, we're
okay. I just want to make sure that we're not talking.
We are at 30 seconds, but
okay.
Maybe that's where we leave it. Maybe it's the wake up call of wake up calls. for the citizens of Northport. Don't go into 2024 sleeping like you have been.
But see, it's an election year, and that always wakes everybody up. But
Yep.
then once the election is over, everybody goes back to sleep. So,
well, wake up, Northport. Debbie, thank you for being part of the show. And
thank you, John.
I appreciate
and I can continue this if you want later. We can continue. I don't care. It's up to you.
You know what? We're going to have lots of opportunity. We got a whole year left, and I'm looking forward to having the commissioners on, and you always jump on when I need a guest, and I appreciate that so much. So you know I do. It's always nice to have people's perspectives on all sides of the issues, because truthfully, we need more people. We need more people, because your numbers, while good at an event, I will promise you, you're not happy with 20 people showing up for a conversation, where you would love to have more than that. You would love to have more people online. The more involvement that we can get from our citizens, the better off we're going to be.
Absolutely. But, you know, I am also happy when I have 20 people that took the time out of their busy lives to come and chat and learn. So I am thrilled that there's 20. I would be thrilled if there was 2. And I've had that happen also, because they are showing an interest. So it's not about the numbers. It's about the sincerity of them wanting to understand what is happening. And if they come out and that's the only time I see them, then that's great. If they come out and I see them many, many times after that, that's fantastic. And I am just grateful for every opportunity that I get to have an interaction with our citizens.
Well, let's take this opportunity to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Safe out there. Give your family and loved ones a hug, and talk to your neighbors. Wake them up. It's time to get your marching orders for 2024. We're gonna start breaking some doors down with our commissioner meetings, and having these same, quite frankly, great talks. I'm glad we have the opportunity to have the commissioners on, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, season's greetings, all that good stuff. Enjoy your time with your families. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, John, let me know when we're off.